Life doesn't hand out instruction manuals. We stumble, we guess, we improvise. Sometimes we feel like we're making progress, and other times it feels like we're just spinning in circles, like a GPS stuck, repeating, recalculating, recalculating. And yet, within the chaos of all that unpredictability, there's something incredibly powerful, the ability to choose. No matter what has happened, no matter how badly yesterday went, you can still choose to reset, restart, and refocus. At first glance, those words might sound too simple. Reset, restart, refocus. Almost like a catchy slogan on a gym wall or a line in a self-help calendar. But here's the thing. Sometimes the simplest truths are the ones we overlook. And if you truly embrace these three words, not just as ideas, but as practices, they can change the entire trajectory of your life. So let's dive into each of these words and understand the depth of what they really mean. 1. Reset. The art of letting go. Think for a moment about your phone or computer. Ever notice how sometimes, when it's overloaded with too many tabs open or too many apps running, it slows to a crawl. It freezes. It glitches. And the only way to get it back on track is to hit reset. Now here's a question. Isn't that exactly what happens to us? We overload ourselves with yesterday's mistakes, the weight of regrets, the guilt of bad choices, the bitterness of missed opportunities. And we wonder why we feel stuck, exhausted, and unable to move forward. Resetting doesn't erase the past. It clears the mental and emotional clutter so you can breathe again. I remember hearing a story about a man who carried a backpack filled with rocks onto a stage. With each rock, he explained what it represented. This one is for the mistake I made at work. This one is for the argument I had with my spouse. This one is for the dream I gave up on. By the end, he could barely lift the bag. Then he asked the audience, "How far do you think I can go carrying all of this?" The answer was obvious, not far. Yet that's what most of us do every day. We drag around mental and emotional rocks from our past and wonder why the journey feels heavy. Resetting means taking those rocks out of the bag and setting them down. Not denying they existed, but choosing not to carry them anymore. Children do this naturally. A child can throw the tantrum of a lifetime over a broken crayon, and 10 minutes later they're laughing and playing as if nothing happened. Somewhere along the way, we adults forget how to reset. We rehearse pain instead of releasing it. The reset is your reminder. You don't have to keep reliving what went wrong. You don't have to stay stuck in yesterday's mistakes. Every sunrise is permission to begin again, but only if you let yourself. So ask yourself, what rocks am I carrying that I could put down today? 2. Restart. This is the courage to begin again. Once you've reset, the next step is to restart. And let me be honest, restarting is hard. Imagine going back to the gym after months away. In your head, you're still the same person who could run a mile without breaking a sweat or bench press a respectable weight. But the reality, you're gasping after 2 minutes on the treadmill, and the empty bar feels heavier than it ever has before. Restarting humbles you. But here's the good news. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Every setback, every failure, every wrong turn has given you something valuable: knowledge. Restarting means you now get to use that knowledge to move forward in a wiser way. Think about it. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who never stumbled. They're the ones who were willing to begin again. History is full of stories about people who failed miserably before they found success. Writers whose first books were rejected dozens of times. Entrepreneurs whose first businesses collapsed. Inventors whose first 100 prototypes didn't work. The difference between those who eventually succeeded and those who didn't wasn't luck. It was the willingness to restart. Restarting is not a mark of weakness. It's proof of resilience. It's easy to quit when things go wrong. It takes real strength to rise again, to try again, to rebuild again. Every time you restart, you come back with more clarity. You know what doesn't work, which means you're closer to discovering what does. You're like a scientist running experiments. Failure isn't the end, it's just data. And that data brings you closer to your breakthrough. So the next time life knocks you down, don't tell yourself, "I'm back at square one." You're not. You're further along than you've ever been, because you now carry wisdom you didn't have before. Restarting is never starting over. It's starting forward. 3. Refocus. Finally, once you've reset and restarted, You've got to refocus. In today's world, this might be the hardest part. Distractions are everywhere. Social media, endless news updates, constant notifications, other people's opinions, and the pressure to keep up. You can be incredibly busy and still go nowhere. Because busyness without direction is just spinning your wheels. Refocusing is about asking yourself what truly matters, not what matters to your neighbor, your coworkers, or your social media followers, but to you. If you've ever driven somewhere without a GPS, you know how easy it is to take a wrong turn and end up miles off course. That's what life feels like when you lose focus. You may still be moving, maybe even moving fast, but in the wrong direction. And the wrong direction, no matter how fast you go, will never take you where you want to be. Refocusing is the practice of recalibrating. It's silencing the noise long enough to hear your own inner voice. It's protecting your time and energy with boundaries so that distractions don't rob you of your progress. Here's the hard truth. If you don't refocus, life will do it for you, often in ways you don't like. Burnout is your body forcing you to refocus. Broken relationships are often a result of misplaced focus. Financial stress can come from focusing on short-term pleasures instead of long-term stability. Refocus before life forces you to. Ask yourself regularly, am I still aligned with what matters most to me? Am I still on the path that leads to the future I want? The beauty of reset, restart, refocus is that it's not a one-time process. It's a cycle you'll return to again and again throughout life. And that's not a bad thing. It's how growth works. Life is not about reaching perfection. It's about making progress. And progress is messy. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll feel like you've lost every ounce of momentum. That's normal. The key is to keep practicing the cycle. Reset when the weight of the past holds you down. Restart when failure or disappointment knocks you off course. Refocus when distractions pull your attention away from what matters most. Each time you move through this cycle, you get stronger, you get wiser, you become more resilient. And with every reset, restart, and refocus, you step closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. So where do you find yourself today? Do you need a reset? Letting go of old hurts and regrets that are weighing you down? Do you need a restart? Summoning the courage to begin again, even if you failed before? Or do you need a refocus? Cutting through the noise to remember what truly matters. Wherever you are, the power is in your hands. You are always one decision away from a new chapter. So don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Create it. Reset, 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 refocus. Life is not about perfection. It's about progress. And with every step you take, whether it's resetting, restarting, or refocusing, you are getting closer to the person you are meant to be. You are capable of achieving greatness. The future is yours to create. So reset, reset, and refocus. The best version of yourself is waiting for you. Thank you for joining me today on this journey. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and remember, the best version of you isn't lost. It's right here waiting, just around the corner. Make it count.